Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, yesterday we learned about how to create a project. So, how to create web application, how to set up the environment for web application. So, these basic things we discussed yesterday, right? I will today upload the previous demo videos into the classroom, and this is the another new classroom code. This is for the people who are unable to join. This is the third group code. Yeah, note down this. And again, everybody don't join here. Let allow the previous people who are unable to join into this. So we have three groups here. In all three, I will upload same content. Right? If you already joined in first two, then leave it. You can continue there. So this is the third group. You can join here, people who are unable to, and previous related videos related to installation process. I will give videos, you check them. I will upload today after the class. So yesterday we discussed about creating a new project, and we learned about setup environment for project. So the basic file system and all. Creating new project, we just maintained a folder, and after that, in Visual Studio Code, you have to open the folder, and you need to install some files. One command we learned, npm init y. This command will work only if you have installed Node.js. What this command is going to do? It generates a file called package.json. What package.json contains? Package.json contains metadata. Project related information is kept in package.json, right? And to generate package.json, this. And the file system, in that we have public folder, src folder, we have package.json, and we have index.html. Index.html is the startup page, right? So how to create a project, how do we set up environment for project, and what are the files present in the project? These are all things we discuss. Have you tried, everyone? Able to create the package JSON? Everyone. So if you can do this, then now you can start working all the designs and all. First, this is the basic environment. Till the end of our course, we are going to work in this environment. So you need to set up all this environment. So up to this, yesterday we created. This is the project we created. Open folder, and the folder is in D drive. Flipkart is the folder, and in this folder already we are having a startup page, and that startup page is index.html. So yesterday I showed you how to keep some resources, how to start the project, how to run it, and work with it. Now today we are going to see another important point. Now today we are going to learn about static and dynamic pages. Static and dynamic page. Yesterday, I told you that web pages are classified into two types. What are those? Static and dynamic. So what is difference between static page and dynamic page? Let's see. So a website can contain both static and dynamic pages. What is static? What is dynamic? Let's see one technical point. Just listen to the concept. So you need to understand the concept. This concept of static and dynamic will come in all technologies. In any technology you are learning, any programming languages or anywhere, you will hear about static and non-static. Suppose you are Java, .NET or some other technologies, you have static members and non-static members, right? So you have two options. One is static, another one is what? Non-static. Actually, what is difference between static and non-static? We will see. You should know that the word static and non-static, these words are related to memory. The term static and non-static, these two terms are related to memory. In any computer technology, if you are working with static and non-static members, you should know this concept. So we have two types of memory, static memory, another one dynamic. I will show you here the nature here. Memory, two types. We have static memory, another we have dynamic memory. So static and dynamic, these are the two types of memories. Now what is difference between static memory and dynamic? Technical definition I will tell you. Actually, static memory is called as continuous memory, and the dynamic memory is called as discrete memory. So the memory classified into two types. One is static, another one dynamic. Actually, static is continuous memory and dynamic is discrete. I will explain the point, because without understanding this, you can't understand what is a static page or a dynamic page. What is difference between static and dynamic memory? I will take a real example. Static memory means continuous memory. That means, suppose you opened Gmail. In Gmail, you logged in with user ID password. When you open the first screen, it will ask you to log in with user ID password. You entered user ID password and logged in. After login, you have to work with a lot of pages. You have 100 mails, you have inbox, you have spam, you have compose, so many pages you have to work. Will you continuously work for every page with every page, or will you sign in for every page? Will you continuously work for every page after first time sign in? You first time signed in. After sign in, you will see inbox, you will see spam, you will see compose. Every time will you sign in? Only once. That means the memory allocated once, the same memory used across any number of requests. This kind of memory is called as what? Static. Discrete memory means, suppose you are doing some money transaction in a website and you are trying to transfer amount to a person. When you are trying to transfer amount, it will ask, please confirm your password. You confirmed your password and amount sent. To the same person, immediately you want to send some more amount. Will it send immediately or will it ask password again? Password again. What happened to the password I entered previously? To the same person again I am sending. What happened to the password I entered previously? After the transaction finished, that is deleted from memory. This kind of memory is called as discrete. This memory is called discrete. Discrete means memory is newly allocated every time. Every time memory is newly allocated. And static means the same memory will continue. If same memory continues, that is static. Memory is newly allocated every time, then it is called non-static, or we call it as dynamic. If you are learning any programming languages, I will show you in a programming way, so that if you are already learning any programming language, you can understand more better. See, I will show you one small technique here. Actually, suppose we are having a class, some demo. In this class, we have two members. One is static member S0 and a non-static member N0. Then what happens is, for this class, memory is allocated. And what happens is, the static members are defined in static memory, S equal to 0. And dynamic members are non-static members are defined in dynamic memory, N equal to 0. So all static members in one memory, all non-static members in another memory. Now what happened is, I created an object 1. I created an object 1 for this class. I created one object for this class. Now this object will go and use the S and it will go and use the N. It is going to use both S and N. In the memory, we given one operation like S equal to S plus 1. We given some operation like this. Here also, N is equal to N plus 1, increment by 1. Now what object 1 will do? It will increase S by 1. That means for object 1, S is how much? 1. And N is also how much? 1. After this object is finished, this object done, object finished. This object is finished and I created another object, object 2. I created object 2. Now what will happen is, this object 2 will also try to use the same memory. But what happens is, object 1 have used the static memory. In the static memory, S value is set to how much previously? 1. And this will continue for second. The memory allocated for first object will continue for second. That means for second object, S value will be how much? 1 plus 1. It will be how much? 2. That means for second object, S will be 2. But what happens is, dynamic memory, after first object finished using it, it will clean up the memory. That means dynamic memory will not continue. Static memory will continue. Then means N value will be how much? Again 0 plus 1. That means it will be 1. That means the memory allocated for first object is continuing for others. So if anyone asks in interviews what is meant by static, then only one technical word will satisfy the interviewer, that is continuous memory. So you don't need to explain anything much. You just say continuous memory. Static refers to continuous memory. Dynamic refers to discrete memory. Continuous memory means the memory allocated for one object, it will continue for others. So discrete means the memory is newly allocated for every object. This is the basic point to understand static and dynamic. Where this static and dynamic is used, I explained. Suppose you need continuous operations. That means you will log in and you will not log out because it is your personal PC or your personal mobile. You don't want to log out. You want to continuously do work. Then in that case, what kind of memory is allocated for you? Static. So applications which need privacy, that means they can't keep you login for more time and they cannot keep your information remembered for more time because hacking may happen. That's the reason what bank applications and other people will do is if you don't do any transaction for few minutes, they sign out automatically. They will clean up the memory. For every transaction, they will ask again, enter password. That means they use what kind of memory there? Discrete. What kind of memory? Dynamic. So if anyone asks what is difference between static and non-static? Static is continuous memory and non-static is discrete memory. I will show in a program way. Don't worry, just see. I am using in a program way. So that anybody have programming idea, they can understand. There is a static S0 and there is a non-static N0. And we have a constructor in a class. This have the static, that means demo.s is equal to demo.s plus 1. It is incremented by 1. N is equal to n plus 1. Both values are increased by 1. And I am printing the values of s. I am printing that is demo.s. And I am printing the value of n, that is this dot n. I just written a logic to make you understand the static and dynamic behavior. Let's see, I am creating an object 1 for demo. And through that object 1, I am accessing print. I am creating object 2 for the same demo. And through object 2, I am printing. I am creating object 3 for same class. And object 3 is also printing. How many objects are created for that class? 3. 3 objects. Now see what I am doing here. You don't worry about what program I am writing and all. That's not required. Just you need to understand the concept. See here. And I am compiling my code and I am running this. So demo.ts. And you can see this is the result it will be. For first object, S value is 1. For second object, it is 2. For third object, it is 3. Because S is static, the memory allocated for first is continuing for others. Why N is again and again 1, 1, 1, 1? Because it is dynamic. Dynamic means the memory allocated for object 1 will not continue for object 2. It will reset every time. So static memory is continuing and dynamic memory is disconnected. Connected, disconnected. Continuous, discrete. That means now this is the concept of static. That is the concept of static. This is not required. I just explained the logic. So if anyone asked what is static, what is dynamic, I think you have a definition now. Static refers to continuous memory. What does it mean? The memory allocated for first object will continue for others. Dynamic means discrete memory. Discrete means the memory is newly allocated for every object. That is actually static and dynamic. Now, how this suits for web page? What is meant by static page? What is meant by dynamic page? It's a simple point actually. Static page means, remember, Whether it is a static page or dynamic page, that doesn't depends on how the page looks like. That depends on how the page responds. Whether a page is a static page or a dynamic page, that depends on how the page responds. For example, static page means it will respond same to everyone. A static page means it is a page which responds same to everyone. So 100 people open that page. For everyone, it will be same. 100 times you open the page. Every time it is same. These kind of pages are called as static. Dynamic page means it will change according to the request. That means you send some request, it will respond to your request. Another person sends another request, it will respond to his request. That means initially both static pages and dynamic pages look same for everyone, but they don't respond same for everyone. Static page responds same, dynamic page will not respond same. For example, I will tell you a simple technical point here. Suppose we have a page. This is some PNR status. In that, they asked to type your PNR number and they asked you to submit. So that means submit so that they can get your PNR details and display. This is a screen. Now everybody wants to know their PNR number, PNR status. Now for everyone, is the page same? For everyone, is the page same? Yes, the page is same. Will it respond same? It will not respond same because according to your PNR, your details will come. You entered wrong PNR, it will say it's not a valid PNR. Right? That means will it respond same? It will not respond same. Then it is not a static page. It is what kind of page? Dynamic page. Static page or dynamic page, that depends on how the page responds. If it is responding same for everyone, then it is static. If it is changing, then it is called dynamic. Actually, here I will show you live example one. Generally, static pages have extension like .html or .htm, that is static pages. Dynamic pages have extension like ASP, PHP, ASPX, JSP, all these are dynamic pages. So whether it is a static page or dynamic page, you cannot see the extension every time, right? Because these days for safety reasons, we don't show extensions. So whether it is a static page or dynamic page, you can identify only based on its behavior. So dynamic pages will have extension like ASP, PHP, ASPX, JSP, like that. Static pages will have extension like HTML and HTML. For example, I will show you. Let's see. Suppose I open here some tutorial point. Now, when I open this, is this the same page will display for everyone? Yes, it is a static page. See, it is having HTML. That is a static page. It will respond same for everyone. Any number of times you open, from any place you open, it will be same. I will show you another one, some Inox movies. Now in this, I have opened this one. You see, this is the page. Here we have movie ticket related information. Now, is this the same information for everyone? Will it respond same for everyone? Will it respond same for everyone? I will choose a different movie. Somebody chooses another movie. Is it responding same for everyone? For me, it will show 4 tickets filled. So for after 5 minutes, it will be 10 tickets filled. Is it same? Then it is a dynamic page. That's what I said. It doesn't depends on how it looks. It depends on how it responds. It may look same for everybody, but it will not respond same. For example, see, I selected a movie here. I selected a movie. And when I selected a movie and I selected a cinema, I selected date, I selected timing, I selected seats, and I click book. According to my request, it will send a response. Then this is not a static page. This is a dynamic page, ASPX. ASPX means it is designed with .NET like technology. JSP means Java. PHP. Right? That means this is a dynamic page. For example, I will show you one more here. Suppose we have W3 schools. In that I selected learning HTML. In that I am selecting here some try yourself. Now tell me, is it a static page or a dynamic page? It is a dynamic page. Why? Because here it allows you to make the change in this. We can make the change and run. It will respond to according to my changes. Is it static or dynamic? You see, it is ASP, that is dynamic. Dynamic page. That means whether it is a static page or a dynamic page, that doesn't depends on how they look. That depends on always how they respond. So a static page will respond same. A dynamic page will change according to the request. Initially, they may look similar. For everybody, dynamic page also looks same, but it will not respond same, right? And very important wrong idea many people have is, if you ask what is the purpose of HTML, then in majority of learning level definitions, you will see people saying HTML is used for designing static page. No, HTML is used for both dynamic and static. HTML is a presentation language. Dynamic page also designed using HTML only. Only the concept is dynamic page additionally have server-side logic. But the design of dynamic page is done by using which language? HTML. So many people have a wrong idea. They think that HTML is for static pages. HTML is not for static pages. For a static page or a dynamic page, any web page requires what? HTML. The design of dynamic page is also done by using HTML. You saw Inox Movies website, drop downs, buttons, book ticket and all. That's all HTML. Only additional concept is they contain server-side logic. So whether it is a static page or dynamic page, that depends on response. And to design both static and dynamic pages, HTML is required. That is the reason a Java, .NET, PHP, Python people come and say that I don't know HTML, I am a Java developer. It's like a joke. It's like a serious joke. Why? Because what you are talking about. That means you can't be a Java developer or a .NET developer or a PHP or a Python developer without knowing HTML. That is the reason you are forced to learn HTML at Java, .NET, different areas, because you can't survive or work for real-time projects. It is not just only Java code to run and compile or .NET code to run and compile. You need web, mobile, all these applications requires presentation. So HTML is a language which is used for designing both static as well as dynamic. So, but in our class, we are going to learn all static pages, because dynamic pages you will learn in your backend technologies like .NET or Java or PHP or Python. But there also HTML is used. The same HTML what you learned for front end here, the same HTML will be used backend. Only extra there you will learn some backend server side logics, right? Here That is the point about static and dynamic page. Let's take the detailed definition here. What is a static page? First point, static refers to continuous memory. Static refers to continuous memory. So the memory allocated for first object will continue for other objects. Now here, what is a static page? A static page comprises of same information to send across multiple requests. A static page comprises of same information to send across multiple requests. Any number of requests, it will have same information. And static page contains extensions .html or .htm. What is difference between HTML and HTML? I will explain now. We will do that. But static pages will have the extension .html or HTML. Dynamic pages. Dynamic refers to what kind of memory? Discrete memory. Dynamic refers to discrete memory. Memory is newly allocated for every object. Memory is newly allocated for every object. So a dynamic page have customized response for every client request. Dynamic page have customized response for every client request. That means for every client request, the response is not same. It will customize the response according to the request. What you asked, it will respond to your request. So dynamic page contains extensions .asp, .aspx, .jsp, .php, like that, depending on different technologies they use. ASP, ASPX, JSP, PHP, all these are dynamic. So whether the page is dynamic or static, that depends on how they respond. So what is the big note here? HTML is a language used for designing both static and dynamic pages. It is a language used for designing both static and dynamic pages. So never say that HTML is for static pages. So HTML is a presentation language and it is required for both dynamic and static. Static pages are designed with certain technologies. Dynamic pages used with different other technologies. Because of that, they can respond to your request. So additionally, dynamic pages have some server-side logic. So that is the difference between static and dynamic. That's the reason any web developer cannot be a web developer without the knowledge of HTML. Because whether he may be working server side or client side, front end or back end, so he needs the concept of HTML, especially if the project is an web application, right? This is static and dynamic. Is it clear to everyone? So what is a static page? A static page responds same to everyone. Dynamic page, it changes or customizes the response according to request, right? Now, first we are going to learn here, because this class is not about dynamic. So you are learning here HTML, CSS, JavaScript. This is all related to only static, right? We are going to learn only static pages here, not any dynamic. So we will see how to design a static page. Designing a static page. The same design is used for dynamic page also, but dynamic page contains extra logic of server side. So how to design a static page? What is the basic structure of static page? Let's see. So designing static page, first point, you should know that every static page must have extension .html or .htm. This is the first rule. Whenever you are designing a static page must have the extension .html or .htm. Now, many times the doubt is what is difference between HTML and HTML. So the frequently asked question is, what is difference? Difference between HTML and HTM. Actually, the answer is, so both are same. There is no difference. There is no difference between HTML and HTM. Then why you have two extensions? That is nothing but both are same. There is no difference. There is no technical difference. Then why you have two extensions and which one you have to use? Why you have two extensions? The point is, for example, to design any web page, which software we have to use? Currently, we are using which one? Visual Studio Code. Na? We are using Visual Studio Code. By using that, we are designing web pages. We can use different types of editors. Yesterday, I told you there are so many types of editors. So, what many of you people may not know that even we can design a web page using MS Word. MS Word is also used for designing web pages. We can design a web page using Excel, PowerPoint also. For example, I will show you here. This is MS Word software. In this MS Word software, I am writing something. Welcome to web. So this is designing a static page. Like this, I typed something. And here I am adding some bold, center align, font size, and some color. And like this, I designed some content. This is in MS Word I am doing. But what I want is, I want this as a web page. Then do you know, when you try to save this file, actually MS Word files are saved with extension docx. You see here, save type is there. In save type, there is an option called web page. You can save as web page. Then do you know what it will do? It will write the HTML code for this. That's good. That's very good. So I don't need to write any logic. That means you design what you want and it is going to write the code for that. That's great. And many times we follow this because we want to publish a document on a website. And for that, we design it using MS Word because MS Word is good for documentations. And that we want in a HTML form. That we want in a HTML form. If we want that in a HTML form, then no need to design in HTML form, just save in HTML form. Whatever logic is required, it will write for you. That's very simple. Now, why I showed you this? Because you should know that HTML pages are designed by using various sources. When you design by using various sources, now what will happen is, actually, I hope you people know that in computer systems, file name have two parts. One is primary name, secondary name. Secondary, or we call as extension name. Do you know the rules of file names? In a computing system, file name contains two parts, primary and secondary. Do you know the rules? Actually, the primary name can be maximum 255 characters long. It can be maximum 255 characters long, primary name. Earlier, it was 8 characters only. So from recent graphical interfaces, it changed to 255 characters long. And the secondary name can be maximum 3 characters. But now recent operating systems allowing any number of characters. This can be also 255. But as per the standard rule, the extension name can be how many characters? 3. That is the reason, actually, you might have seen, suppose you have a photo, actual original photo extension is JPEG. That is the original type of photo. But it will save as what it is? JPG, because as per rules of operating system, extension should be 3 characters. Sometimes it follows those rules, sometimes it violates the rules. That means actual standards 3 characters only. You give more than 3 characters, it's okay, it will take. That means now the softwares, when they save your content in HTML, sometimes they follow the standards of operating system. According to standards of operating system, HTML file can have extension only 3 characters, then it will stop at HTM. Right? It will stop at a HTM. But when you design manually giving the name, you can give complete HTML. Which one is recommended? Anything okay. According to the standards of W3C. W3C and what WG? Who are these people? One is responsible for web, another one is responsible for HTML. According to these two people, they recommend HTML. They recommend HTML. But if you give HTML also, it works. It doesn't matter. That means, is there any difference between HTML and HTML? No. You can give any. But manually, when you are defining, better give HTML. Right? But some softwares do like that. See, I am saving this as web page on my desktop by a name. I will give a name as, suppose, my web page. This is my web page on desktop I am saving. Okay, let's save this. It saved this as a web page. Let's close this. Through MS Word, I designed it. I will close. I will open my PC and you can see my web page, HTML page is there. I will open this my web page and you will see the output is same and see the extension is HTML. It is HTML, but it is a HTML page. That means it depends on software. Will every software give like this? No. Some softwares will give HTML. That depends. Is it any problem? No problem. So then what should you recommend? We always recommend HTML. When you are giving a file name for static pages, always use HTML. You see, whatever code is required for this, it automatically writes that code. It writes the code. These are all comments actually. This is the code it writes. Whatever code is required, it will write that code. That is the ability. That means in real world development also, we use this very well. We use this very much in real world application development. If we don't use that, why they have given that option? Why MS Word like people given an option save as web page? That means many developers follow that. They don't waste time. They design in Word and Excel, and because you know Excel is very popular in invoice designing, right? Bills, invoices. We design bills, invoices, and we just publish in the web page. That is very convenient and easy way. So technically, first basic rule, every static page must have extension .html or HTML. So let's go to the project, and in this project, we will add one page. Where to add the page? As per the rules, all static pages must be in which place? Static resources must be in which place? Public. Dynamic resources must be SRC, right? All static resources you keep in public. All dynamic resources you keep in SRC. So what you do, go to public folder, and in that you can directly add a new file. But I told you one more point, that if a website have to start automatically, every website have which page? Index.html. So how do we add that, and where do we add? Generally, index is added outside public, not inside public. So outside here, we will add a new file. We will give the name index, and as per the rules, it should have extension .html. This is the first point. That means now we created a simple static page. Okay, that is the first rule you need to know. Is it clear? Right? Every page, every static page will have extension .html. Now, second point, second important. Every static page starts with document declaration. Every static page starts with document declaration. This is the second very important point. Every static page starts with document declaration. So the first line that you write in a static page must be this, document declaration. What is document declaration? Let's see. What is this document declaration? Let's see the point. Actually, we discussed browser architecture. Last session, we learned about browser architecture. So suppose we are having a browser, and you know that entire translating in browser is done by browser engine. Am I right? We learned about few different browser engines. Now, what happens is our developer is designing a HTML page. When he designing a HTML page, what is the point is, HTML page can be designed using two versions. One is HTML4 and HTML5. That means it can use two versions. We can use two versions, HTML4 and 5. And browser engine internally have HTML4 parser. Parser is translator. It is also having HTML5 parser. That means two translators are present in the engine, the 4 and the 5. Now what happened is, our developer designed in HTML5, but browser by default uses 4 translator. It will use the 4 translator and try to translate. Then some of the new things that you written in HTML5, they are not understandable to our parser. Then it cannot present some content in the same way. Then what is developer's responsibility? By default, engine is using old parser. Then developer have to tell the browser that this page is designed in HTML5. Please use the 5 parser for translating. And that is done by using document declaration. Document declaration is used by developers to tell the browser that the page is designed in HTML5. Why? Because document declaration is not there in old version. That means if you are not writing document declaration, then the browser thinks it is HTML4. If there is document declaration, then browser understands that it is HTML5. That means it is very important to tell the browser which version of HTML you are using. And HTML5 have a document declaration, HTML4 don't have. And how the document declaration is written, it is written like this, doc type HTML. This is called document declaration. Every static page must start with document declaration. If this is not there in the HTML page, that means it is designed in HTML4. Even you claim that I designed in HTML5 only, and you are not writing doc type, translator will cancel. That means it will not understand. That means the point is you said that, sir, I am using 5 options and I am designing the page, but browser can't understand. Browser is going to use the old. It cannot understand. So it is very important for a browser to tell which version of HTML we are using. And that is done by using which option, doc type HTML. And very carefully observe this point here. Actually, in HTML, this indicates token. Token means this indicates tag, and this indicates this is not tag. That is not a token. That means this symbol indicates it's not a tag. If it is not a tag, then what it is? It is called declaration. That means this line is not translated because it is not a tag. It is not translated. If it is not translated, why you are writing it? This is not line to translate. This is line to indicate which parser it has to use. That means a document declaration tells the browser that we are using HTML5. If there is no document declaration in the top, that means it is designed in HTML4. That means even today, several websites you will see they are still using HTML4. So how you confirm that it is 4 or 5? If you find a document declaration at the first line, then it is HTML5, right? So this is called document declaration. So we will start our page with the document declaration, and very important, as per the rules and standards of HTML, we have to follow rules and standards. As per the rules and standards of HTML, complete HTML tags and elements must be in lowercase. They must be in lowercase. So according to the standards and rules, that means we have to write exclamation, doc type, what it is, HTML. But this is not a tag, it is just a declaration. So people have a habit of writing as what? Doc type in capital letters. Doesn't matter, you can write in small letter also, right? But as per recommendations of HTML, so they recommend always to use only lowercase. So this is the first line that comes in any HTML page. What is the meaning of this line? We are using which version of HTML? HTML5 version. So that is the first thing you should know. Is it clear? Right now, when you open any website, suppose let's open some Google. So let's open some Google and right click and inspect. Inspect means we will check which version HTML they are using. You go to the elements category, there is doc type HTML. And it is in a different color, you can see. Why? Because that is not a token. This is not a part of DOM hierarchy. This is outside the DOM hierarchy. So this is not a part of DOM hierarchy. That is just a declaration, right? Every markup language have such declarations. The declaration, not only HTML, you have XML and other languages. Every language which is markup language, it starts with a declaration. So what is the first line? The first line is about document declaration. Okay, next part, second, after that. So after document declaration, every static page comprises of document scope, document declaration, and document scope. Every HTML document contains scope. Scope indicates where it starts, where it ends. So where it starts, where it ends, that is defined as a document scope. And that is written like this, HTML. This is called document scope. This indicates where document starts and where document ends. Now, why to mention scope? That means why should I tell where to start, where to stop? The point is, for example, suppose, means why to tell this? Because see, here again the point is simply, suppose we have a browser, and in the browser we are having two pages. That is, suppose we are having page 1 and we are having page 2. Now the question is it possible to display these two pages in one browser at a time? Is it possible to display two pages on one screen at a time? It is possible. It is possible. Do you know these days we use single page applications? Everything comes on one page only. Do you know why people learn Angular, React technologies? For developing single page applications. We call them as SPA. Your Facebook, your Gmail, currently we are using, they are all single page applications. Right? Everything comes on one page. There is no pages. Right? That means the point is it possible that we can display multiple documents in one screen at a time? Yes. And what happens is when you try to do this, do you know what browser will do? Browser will merge both documents and treat as one. That means for user who is watching, it is one document, but actually internal it is two. Then for developer, it becomes difficult now because he want to manage activities on document 2 or document 1, and now scope is missing because everything is merged into one. You see, suppose now I am writing here HTML, here I am writing document 1, and I am writing another HTML, and this is document 2, document 2. That means I am designing two documents, and observe carefully in the output here. I will run this. How to run, you know, go live na? Or you can do one more. You can simply right click and you can select open with live server. Right click on the page and select open with live server. Then it will open in the live server. Yesterday I showed you how to start the live server and use. And it will show you the page output, document 1 and 2. Very interesting point. Observe carefully when I inspect here. When I inspect here, it is merging both in one body. But how I designed? Two different documents. One document contains document 1, another document contains document 2. My browser is merging off everything. Then it is good. For user who is watching your website, he can see all documents in one screen. But for developer, it is difficult now. Because if developer have to catch the data coming from document 1, there is no scope for document 1. That's the reason for developers, this document scope becomes very important. Without writing document scope also you can present. You can present. But understanding the document scope in this document, which content is there, in second document, which content is there, how to access the document content, you will learn in JavaScript. In JavaScript, you are going to deal with these documents, right? Initially, how we define the scope of any document. The scope of any document is defined by using what? HTML. So I hope you are clear. So up to now here we have three basic points. HTML page must have an extension .html. HTML page must start with document declaration if you are using HTML5 version. After document declaration, document scope. Okay. Now here, see, in this document, I am writing here, offer ends on, suppose 10, 7, and 2023. I written like this, offer ends on 10, 7, 2023. Now when offer is going to end? In which month, which day? October 7 or July 10? Can't I write month, day, year? Can't I write month, day, year? Is there such format of date? Yes. You have day, month, year, year, month, day. Different countries have different region areas, right? That in that case, you are using internet. Internet means your websites will be accessed all over the world anywhere. Then it is very confusion for a browser to understand which region language it belongs to. Then for browser, it is very important to understand which language content you are presenting. Is it US English? Is it UK English? Is it German English? Because English, it is English. But in English, so many types of English are there. According to every English, number style changes, number format changes, date format changes, time format changes. In that case, how to tell the browser which English you are using, which country English you are using? For that, you have to use an attribute inside HTML called language. It is mandatory that every page must define language. Remember, you are learning rules. That means, for example, sometimes people ask like, sir, I have seen one website. In that website, there is no language written, right? We don't care about them. That means you are simply saying that wearing helmet and riding a bike is rule. You are saying that, sir, that person is not wearing helmet. He's going, what will happen? That means you are showing that as a cause. That is his problem. That is his problem. That means he is not wearing a helmet and he is riding a bike. That is his issue, right? That means you are taking him as an example. That is the same thing. You will come and ask like, sir, in one website, one person told like this. In one YouTube channel, one person told like this. What do I care about that? I don't care about them. Who is he? Who is he? He have 1 million viewers, sir. So what? All 1 million people are sheeps. They blindly follow some nonsense, right? You see, even a nonsense person on YouTube have millions of subscribers. Understood? Because he want to hear his nonsense. He want to see his nonsense every day. Because he's entertained with that. Right? And when you read the comments, you will understand. When you read the comments, you will understand. He may have 1 million subscribers. When you read the comments, you will see technical people blaming on him. That what nonsense you are talking. The point here is how anybody other designing a page, we don't care. We should follow rules. Because this is what followed in projects. If you don't follow the rules, your code is rejected by testing team. Because they test as per test cases. In test cases, all rules are mentioned. If any one rule is missing, your page is rejected. That is the reason even somebody is not writing, we don't care. But we have to know the basic rule. And that basic rule is, first important rule is every HTML document scope must define which language it is using. So based on the content type. So the language will be like this, like EN-IN. This is for English India, like US, like UK, like GB for UK. Different language. So IN. For example, I will show you. See, suppose we are opening a website, Amazon.com. Amazon.com is not Indian. Amazon.com is US. You see the language is US. Because Amazon.com is not Indian, it is US. When you open this website, everything will be in dollars. And it will ask deliver to India. Right? And when you open Amazon.in, Amazon.in is according to Indian region. It is English India. It is English India. Here everything will be in rupee format. Date format will be like day, month, year. That depends. That means when you design a page, so you need to tell which regional language the page is using. And that is defined by using this option. This is very important. So what is the next important point? Every document scope must mention the language type for content in page. Every document scope must mention the language type for content in page. And how do we do that? So language is English IN or English US, like that. We can keep different. Syntactically, we write like this. Syntactically, together with all these points, first document doc type HTML, then HTML language is English India, and close the HTML. This is the basic first level structure of a HTML page. So HTML page must start with document declaration. After document declaration, document scope, and in document scope, so we have attribute. And remember, many people have a confusion about this, like what do I call this as? Because sometimes people use the word property, sometimes people use the word attribute, sometimes people use the word option, right? What is the correct word for this? HTML. That is, HTML is the token, it is the tag. What is language? Is it a property or an attribute or an option? Remember one basic blind point. HTML have everything, only attributes, nothing else. There is no property, there is no option like concept. HTML have only attributes. In HTML, whatever you see on screen in a tag, attribute, that is called as attribute. What is the meaning of attribute? Attribute gives additional behavior for this tag. The purpose of attribute is to give additional behavior. Already tag is doing some work, and you give some additional behavior by using what? Attribute. And HTML have only attributes. These attributes in JavaScript are called as properties. In JavaScript, we call them property. In HTML, we call them as attribute. So HTML attribute, everything is attribute. You should call as attribute. And important, when you write attribute, language is equal to English India. Language is equal to English India. Language is equal to English India. All are okay. Anything is fine. That means you write without quotations, you write with double quotations, you write with single quotations, all are okay. Anything is valid. But as per the standards, this is recommended. Everything will work. This also will work. Without quotes also it will work. But why you recommend this? Why we recommend this? Because if you try others, they may have abnormal behavior. They may have abnormal behavior. We call them as bad code. You know, in computer programming, you have good code, bad code. I hope you are learning that, right? Because, for example, you are learning technologies like C, C++, Java, .NET, and all these programming languages. Do you know in these programming languages, when you write code, some code is bad code, some code is good code. You have to write always good code. For example, I will tell you here, see, suppose you are learning a language, some language like Java or .NET or something. We write a condition like this. If condition, after that, a block in that statement on true, block close else, and block condition on false. This is how we write. Now, some of your faculty or trainer may have told you that you can write a condition and directly true and else directly false without curly brace. Without curly brace, without block. Is it valid, right side? It is valid, but this is bad code. That is not recommended for real world. That is bad code. Why it is bad code? Because what is the meaning of curly brace? Where it starts, where it ends. Without writing what you are trying to tell. You are telling the compiler, I will not tell where to start and stop. You think. Nonsense, you are wasting the time. Right? You may think it is shortcut, but it is time waste. And remember, I am not saying that. People who developed this language, they say that. For example, if you want to learn the rules of programming, you can visit these websites, PMD, Sonar. Have you heard about them? PMD, Sonar, these are used in real-time projects by developers to verify whether the code he written is good code or bad code. So only good code is sent forward, bad code is rejected. Right? And these are the softwares used everywhere in the world of programming. And you see, I will show you here. This is the PMD. I will show you here. This is PMD. This is PMD. This is language analyzer. And I will show you the documentation here. Code analyzer, this is PMD. I will show you the rule reference. Rule reference, here every rules you will find, HTML rules, Java rules, everything. Suppose I will take you to the Java rules. So best practices, coding styles we have. I will go to the best practices and coding styles. And you can see the coding styles. You have the options. For example, ECMA I will give, yeah. Because you see now, this is the rule, and you see in the rule, they are saying that this is okay and this is bad. They are saying that this is bad and this is okay. Who is saying this is bad? The person who invented that language. The people who invented that language, they are saying that this is bad. Then who are you to invent some new shortcuts? After all, you are misguiding the developer and you are increasing the load on application. Performance will affect. That means every programming language, we need to follow certain standard rules of programming. And if you are learning any programming language, please keep in touch of this website. These are the rules mentioned by the people who built that language. Then you are ready for real-time environment. Because majority of people, what they face problem in real-time development is the learning style and real-time style little varies. In learning, you learn something. When you go to real-time, your senior says, where you learned this? Who told you this? No, don't do like this. Such issues you will face regularly, because the point is you may learn shortcuts so that you can easily understand and implement. Because if any faculty tries to explain a lengthy process, you will simply say, I can't understand what he's saying. That is the reason, because of your mindset, the trainer have to give you some false representations. They will work, but they will be easy to understand, but in real time, they are not recommended. Right? That's the reason, even it is a difficult part, you must correctly learn the rules, because that is what implemented for real time. So without writing all these, also HTML page is designed. But writing this is very important as per the standards. Right? Standards, not only coding standards, there are so many other things you will see. Right? Initially, you can get in touch of this PMD sonar. These are very popular. Right? Later, when we learn JavaScript and others, I will show you how to verify the rules and handle them. Okay. Up to this, everyone is clear. So we have document declaration, document scope. In document scope, what is the first basic attribute? Language. Next important point is, after the document scope, every HTML document scope comprises of two sections. Every HTML document scope comprises of two sections. One is head, another one is body. So inside every HTML document, there are two scopes. One is head and body. There are two important things, head and body. What is difference between these two? Let's see. So what is head section? What is the body section? What is difference between these two? Let's see. Actually, what is head and body section is, now in this page, we don't directly put content. So in this, we have two sections. One is head and another one is body, two sections. Every HTML page at high level contains two sections. What is difference between these two sections? I will tell you. Let's see. Actually, why we need these two sections? Because generally we have a browser, and every browser usually have some memory. Generally, browser have memory. All the content that is required for a page, it keeps in that memory. Now, what happened is, you designed a HTML page. In this HTML page, you have content 1 and you have content 2. Two contents are there. Now, what happens is, the contents in the page that you designed, they have two behaviors. What are those two behaviors is, some content will, when you request, some content will load into memory. That means they are not directly delivered to the page. They load into memory. After loading into memory, from memory, they are given to browser. That means the content is first loaded into memory. From memory, whenever browser needs, it will request it. It will request it. But some content is not like that. Some content directly delivered to browser. Some content is directly delivered to browser. It is not kept in memory. And the content which you are trying to keep in memory, this content should be in head section. And the content you want to directly deliver to the page, that content should be in which section? Body. That is the nature of head and body. That means what kind of content you have to keep in head section? The content which is not directly delivered to browser. It is first delivered to the memory. From memory, browser will read whenever it needs. Right? And what is body? Body means it is directly delivered to browser. It is not in the memory. What is advantage of keeping in memory? Whenever I need again, it can deliver immediately. What is the drawback of not keeping in the memory? Whenever I need, it has to load it again. Load from where again? It has to load from the page again. It is not in the memory. So what kind of content you keep in head section? the content which is intended to load in browser memory and delivered from the browser memory to browser. So the content which is intended to load directly in the body, that is kept in which section? Bodies. So that is what the difference between head and body section. Now, many times people ask like, sir, by mistake, if I put some content in body, which has to be kept in head, will it work? It will work. It will work. That means you have seen several websites written some content in head and by mistake you written in body, they will work. They will work. That means now your browser is going to use both of them. Then why there are two sections here? Even something to be written in head section, you written in body, it works, no problem. Then what happens is, if the page wants that content again, then it is not in the memory. Then it has to load from the page again, which will take time. That means it is working, but it is using more time. That's not good. That's the reason, as per the recommendations, the content which we want to reuse, we will keep in which section? Head. We don't want to reuse just only one time rendering, then we will put it in the body. That is the difference between head and body section. So what is the concept about head section? So the first point is head. So head section. So it defines content which is intended to load into browser memory, which is intended to load into browser memory and later delivered to page, and later delivered to page. That's it. That is what actually head section. Head section, it defines content which is intended to load into browser memory and later delivered to page. So it is not directly delivered to the page. It is first loaded into memory and from there it is delivered to the page. And usually, so typically every HTML page head section comprises of number one, it contains title, it contains link, it contains meta, so it contains script and style. These are the contents present in head section. These are the contents which are recommended to keep in the head section. So these are as per the rules and standards how we do. Right now, if anyone asks like, if I put title in body section, will it work? It will work. It will work, no problem. But at some situations, it will fail. That means you should not think about the current situation working or not. You should think in all conditions, is it working or not? Right? So our implementation depends on all the conditions. That means, you know, in real world project, every concept have hundreds of algorithms. You have to match every algorithm. If any one algorithm is failed, testing fails. Algorithm means all the consequences. That means how much height width it is, how much, what color you are using, why you are using that color, everything matters. Even the color also matters. For example, later you will understand the colors and mechanism I will explain when we apply the colors and all. So here head section typically contains these things, right? Let's see what are these. First one in the head section, later we will go into body. So first in the head section, very common thing you will see is title. What is the purpose of this title? It looks simple, but there is a lot of concept behind that. What is the purpose of title is actually, title is used for so many reasons. The main purpose of this title is it will display title for page in title bar. Not only that, it is used for bookmarking page. So bookmarking page. Not only that, it is used in SEO, search engine optimization. So title in a HTML page have three works. It will do three things. It is used to display title for page in the title bar. It is used for bookmarking your page, and it is used in SEO, search engine optimization. Search engine optimization, I will tell you what is that SEO. Here actually, see now, generally these all points I will give you. First observe here, see, I open this page. When I open this page, you will see page is currently empty. The page is currently empty, and you can see that the address, what is present for the page, this address is used here. We don't want like that. That means here there will be so many things coming later. But I want a clean, simple title here, like Amazon shopping, like Facebook. I don't want all that path. Then what we do is, we will simply put here title. Title is Flipkart. So Flipkart like this, and home, something like this. And you can see that is the title it display. So the title is used to display a title when you open the page. And not only this, another work is when you try to bookmark this page. Bookmarking means you see favorites button is there. When you click the favorites button, the title is used as favorite name. What title you mentioned, it is used for favorites. So title is used for, one is displaying in the title bar and adding into favorites. Not only that, for example, you see, I open Google. In Google, I am searching for Netflix, and some result came about Netflix. And see, when result came here about Netflix, this is coming from its title. This is coming from the title. What title they have for the page, that title is used in search results. What title they give, that will be in search results. Let's see, let's check whether they have that title or not. I will open this Netflix page, and let's go to right click and go to inspect. And in the inspect, let's check here, lot of code in the head section, expand the head section. And in the head section, you see title, the same thing is there. So the title is having the same thing, what it is showing in search results. So this is the title which is used in SEO, right? These are what generally asked in interviews. That means for people who learn school, college level HTML, title means title. That's it. They see there itself. They don't know more than that. But at real world interviews, why people fail in interviews in web designing and all, because they think these are very simple things, but they don't know the technical point about them. If anybody asks like how to make the page SEO friendly, then many web designers cannot tell, because to make search engine friendly, there are several rules. In that, one rule is title. That means every page must have a proper title. Otherwise, your page will not be kept in search results. It is ignored. It will be simply skipped. So that is the reason we have to know the basic technical rules. What is the rule? Every page can have a title, right? And title is defined in this way. And now, other than title, there are so many. And beside the title, there is an icon. This icon, how to set, that we will see tomorrow. Right? Title, head, meta, all other options in the head section, that we will see tomorrow. Tomorrow we will learn how to put those icons, title and body section, how to design them. You will see Twitter, Facebook have their own icons. Like that, we can create our own icons and keep the icons, that we are going to see in tomorrow's session. Okay, tomorrow we'll continue, right?